What's going on, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Boruto manga. I will be covering chapter 45 in today's video, and it was, yet again, another fantastic chapter. This manga, it just continues to get better and better, I swear. And this was a good chapter for a number of reasons, not just because we got the beginning of Jigen versus KASHIN Koji, but we also got some information on the Otsutsuki clan, some old stuff or stuff that we've already known about, as well as a little bit of new information. And hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about them in the future, in future chapters. Anyways guys, if you like this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe as I cover the Boruto manga on a monthly basis. And I sometimes talk about spoilers and other stuff, maybe some other theories I have regarding the series. Anyways, on to the review. So chapter 45 starts off where chapter 44 left off, in which Amado, however you pronounce his name, Amado, Tomato, whatever. Anyways, all jokes aside, Amado wants to defect to Konoha, and he's promising that he will hand over information on Kara, the Otsutsuki clan, Jigen, and Ten Tails. He's gonna give him everything, which is good, because I think our heroes need to know everything about Kara and Jigen, considering Naruto and Sasuke took a massive L against Jigen back in chapter 38. It's gonna be some good information they need. Boruto asks Sumire, who's actually listening in on the conversation as well, what it means by defecting, and she explains it, which I actually think Sumire's here for a reason, which I'll get into that towards the end of the video. But she basically explains to Boruto what defection or defecting means, and Kawaki over here, he's kind of confused because he's wondering, Amado has betrayed Kara, what's going on? So Naruto agrees to comply with Amado, as long as he doesn't try anything funny, because it won't end well for him. But he knows better considering Shikadai's life's on the line, so he agrees to it. Meanwhile, Cody is watching over the Ten Tails and also communicating with Jigen via, I believe, Genjutsu, kind of just talking about what's going on, and Jigen even name drops, Sasuke and Konoha, well, he doesn't name drop Sasuke, I should say, rephrase that. Konoha is aware of that place, so be on guard, and something happened to Boro, so could have been Sasuke, so yeah. So we could be seeing Sasuke versus Cody in a future chapter, we just don't know yet, but Cody is a very mysterious character right now, and I think it's someone that we really should look out for in the future. But Koji shows up, and Jigen commands him to sit down and basically give you a report on the mission, what's going on. So Koji complies. Back at the Hokage office, Amado is restrained, and he's making jokes here. He wants a cigarette, and he's basically telling the others, well, why don't you give it to me? I'll help me clear my head. But hey, didn't I explain earlier? If you restrain me, it's meaningless because I can just blow up your son's head. You want me to do that? And Shikamaru just goes crazy. It's like, oh, hell no, son. You just didn't say that. He slams him up against the wall and basically chokeholds him with his elbow. And it's Naruto, of all people, that basically tells Shikamaru to stand down. Like, literally, Shikamaru's usually pretty level-headed, and I mean, in a way, I kind of sympathize with him. I mean, if my son were being threatened with possibly being blown to bits, I'd probably be on edge as well, and probably want him dead, so don't really blame Shikamaru here. It's just a little, not really out of character, I just don't blame him, I guess I should say. But I like the fact that Naruto was the one that calmed him down, which is actually really cool. It shows how far Naruto has come as Hokage and how he's matured over the years. But the one thing I find that's interesting is that Boruto, Sumire, Kawaki, and Chadtastic, they're all watching this meeting going on as well, which is kind of surprising. You'd think they'd be blocked out and sent away, but, well, they're able to sit in and listen in on this conversation, which I find pretty interesting, but we're gonna probably learn why they're there. They're there for, plot reasons, but anyways, moving on. Chadtastic, on the other hand, he seems pretty shocked, and he's like, wow, he's the genius scientist of Kara? If his defection gets improved, I want him to be part of my laboratory. He's got some good skills, which he does. This guy, Amado, is a frickin' Chad. He's a scientist Chad, I should say. He's got all these super skills that even Chadtastic can't even keep up with. So he'd be very valuable to Konoha. Just saying. And even Sumire even mentions that, hey, this would be the Kawaki's benefit as well. He could probably fix his arm. Which is true, since he's the one that probably enhanced his body. Well, I would say he's not. He is the one that enhanced Kawaki's body. I don't know what I'm talking about. So he'd probably be able to help Kawaki out with his arm. We get back to Jigen and Kashin Koji for a few panels, in which Kashin Koji is given his report, and he actually notes to Jigen that, hey, well, I couldn't really do anything because, you know, I couldn't really intervene. You showed up in front of Kawaki and Naruto. If you had this ability, why didn't you use this? Why was there a mission in the first place? And Jigen kind of was just like, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I could do whatever I want? So let me ask you something. Or let's talk about the air blimp. You know, that was no accident. So don't play dumb. I know you're behind this somehow. So yeah, Jigen is he's not as dumb as Koji would like to think. He's pretty much been aware of what's going on the whole time. He's just basically been playing Koji, which is pretty crazy. Some interesting developments for Jigen and Koji. We cut back to the scene at the Hokage office, in which now Sasuke's here. He's listening in on the conversation, and he wants to know what's going on too. So Amado, he begins basically spilling the beans on the Otsutsuki clan. But we learn that Jigen specifically is an Otsutsuki now. He was originally just an ordinary human being, but he's become an Otsutsuki, thanks to karma. But Amado basically explains the Otsutsuki clan. It's basically for people that are either new to the series or don't really know much about the clan. It's also for Boruto and Kawaki, as they don't have this information before. So it's new information for them. We find out that the Otsutsuki clan are alien parasites, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, it makes sense because they are essentially parasites. They go to a planet, devour all life on that planet, and then they leave. And the one thing I find interesting here is that, you know, it expands a little bit on the lore, because basically what they do is the Ten Tails is actually a seed. That seed is planted and it becomes the God Tree, which this makes complete sense, since we knew that the God Tree and the Ten Tails were, you know, they were one being pretty much before, so this makes sense. And once the planet has been sucked of its life, it bears a chakra fruit, which the Otsutsuki use to update themselves continuously. It's basically how they evolve, which is pretty interesting. So do the Otsutsuki continuously evolve? That's something that would be pretty interesting. So Boruto, Chadtastic, and the others are learning this for the first time. Chadtastic is freaking out, being like, wow, this is crazy new information. But the interesting part here, and this is the thing I like, it's the fact that we now know that Amado was the one that planted the coordinates in the airship blimp. He did that specifically so that Konoha would become aware of all this stuff, which is pretty awesome. I think it was really nice how this is all tying up. We kind of had some suspicions before, but this is perfect. Like, this is perfect in my opinion. It all comes together here. So, anyways, one thing that's also interesting here is that Amado actually doesn't know that the Ten Tails that Jigen has. He actually doesn't. He knows it's a different specimen from the one that Naruto and Sasuke and the others battled in the Fourth Great Shinobi War, which is pretty interesting. It made sense. I always thought that the Ten Tails was a different species, so it's interesting. So we don't know exactly where this Ten Tails come from, but they utilize it to assault a planet when it's time to harvest the fruit. Now Sasuke is kind of honing on the fact that Amado mentioned that Jigen is an ordinary human being, and he became an Otsutsuki member, so he tries to inquire information on karma, which Amado says something very interesting right here. He says that, yeah, you're on the right track. This is, what I've already said is just the beginning. This is just a preface. The important part starts now, and before we get that information, he gets a transmission, and he tells Shikamaru to take off his glasses and put it down on the table, on the edge of the table. And this is where Amado continues to be the Chad scientist he is, because his freaking glasses are basically a telecommunicator, and he is live streaming from his freaking glasses what's going on at the car hideout between Jigen and Kashin Koji, which is being broadcast by Koji's freaking frog. That is freaking awesome. And that's when they're sitting there like, Kashin Koji, Shikamaru's like, Konoha mentioned him. And that's when we get the reveal, and Jigen basically calls out Koji right here. He's like, you conspired with Amado to crash that airship and allow Kawaki to escape. Which, everything's coming full circle. And so Jigen was in on it the whole time. he must have had his suspicions, but Jigen has been on it the whole time. Well, the reason why I think Amado conspired with Koji is he probably realizes that, you know, Jigen's given him a promise at the end that, you know, everyone's wishes will be granted, but I guarantee you, yeah, it's not gonna happen, because as soon as Amado, you know, his usefulness ends for Jigen or Ishiki, he's gonna kill him anyway. So yeah, it makes sense that Amado, being the smart dude he is, had to come up with a way to get away from Jigen and set everything up so they could potentially stop Jigen / Ishiki. So yeah, I think this is all great material. So anyways, everybody is going to watch KASHIN Koji versus Jigen now. And Amado reveals that, yeah, Koji is the only one I'm collaborating with. Everybody else is with Jigen. But Amado basically programmed everybody, and Kara, they're all cyborgs, but the only one that's actually with Amado with all this is KASHIN Koji himself. And Jigen's trying to press Koji and what's your motives? We all decided that we were going to obtain the chakra fruit. This was our plan. And why are you trying to destroy it? Tell me why, what's the motive? Koji's not having any of that and tries to attack Jigen with some shuriken. And interesting to note, something I didn't mention earlier, is that Koji actually mentions that Jigen's breath is pretty weakened, and you can tell that after his battle with Naruto and Sasuke, he hasn't fully recovered. But despite the fact that Jigen is still weakened, yeah, Jigen, he's right on the, you know, hunt for Koji, and immediately disappears. He probably shrinks, comes right behind Koji, and stabs him with 4 black chakra rods, or those black rods that he had with his battle with Naruto and Sasuke. And seemingly Koji is down for the count. And he's basically going to make Koji talk. However, unfortunately for Jigen, that was actually a shadow clone. And Koji appears right behind Jigen. He's like, I have no interest in that chakra fruit. But from the very beginning, I was created to kill you, confirming that Koji is indeed a cyborg and not Jiraiya. So once again, the Boruto manga continues to deliver with this great type of content. I'm super happy with what we got in this chapter. And the fact of the matter is, this is not the end. The thing that I like here is, even though we got a tease of what Amado was telling Naruto and the others, we're going to get most of it either in the next chapter or in like chapter 47 or something like that. This is just the beginning. As he mentioned in the chapter, what I told you here is just a preface. And I think he was going to get into karma and kind of explain all that. So we're going to learn about that later. So I think this is all great material. Not only is it cool that they're going to be able to see KASHIN Koji versus Jigen via live stream, which is actually, you know, something I wasn't expecting. But the fact of the matter is, you know, we're getting all this information. We got an awesome fight coming up. We got all this awesome lore information we're going to learn about the Otsutsuki clan and possibly Kara. So all of this is great material, and I am super stoked for the next chapter. So there's a few things I kind of wanted to note in this chapter, is like something that we should probably be looking out in the future. So I mentioned earlier that Sumire is here for a reason. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this is something that Boruto fans are probably not going to be too happy with me saying, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's a good chance that when Boruto overhears that information, that crucial information on the Karma Seal, and him potentially being taken over by Momoshiki by Amado, it's going to cause Boruto to have, you know, he's going to freak out. He might even have a breakdown, knowing that, you know, he could potentially be taken over in the future and become an Otsutsuki member himself. And I can see Sumire actually comforting Boruto and encouraging him to fight on. And this, I mean, this would be a huge moment for Borosumi fans, and I can see it happening. I can see her comforting Boruto and, you know, giving him the motivation to, you know, not lose hope and just carry on. And I think it would be a great moment. I know there's some people that prefer Boruto to be with Sarada, but I think this would be, I think it's kind of being set up here for Boruto and Sumire to have a really special moment with one another coming up. Just saying. So I did like the fact that this chapter gave us an answer pretty much on Koji, and re-emphasizing the fact that he's indeed a cyborg that was created by Amado, and he was created for the purpose of taking down Jigen, and I like all this. The guy has all these frickin' techniques. So he's probably, it's kind of similar to like Cell or the androids in Dragon Ball Z, where he has DNA from multiple different people that was collected over time. He's got the ability to use Rasengan. He's got Toad summons. They're pretty damn unique in their own. He can use a fire style technique that is similar to the Atamarasu that basically burns somebody, you know, to death. He's got that. You know, he's got shadow clones. So this guy has a lot of freaking techniques. I want to see what else he's got up his sleeve. That's why this battle with Jigen is going to be very, very interesting to see. What, you know, all of Kashin Koji's abilities. And Naruto and the others are going to be able to see not only Koji, and we're probably going to get the reveal of, you know, when his mask drops of who he maybe originally was. That's probably coming, so even if he dies here, we know, or gets seriously injured, we know who he originally was. Just saying, I'm trying to spit that out. So I also did like the fact that this chapter provided us with a bunch of questions and answers on certain things. We got some more information on the Otsutsuki clan. However, what we got in this chapter was just the beginning. I want to know more, not just on the Karma Seal and what's going to happen to Boruto. I want to know more about Kara. I want to know more about Jigen. Specifically, I want to know how Jigen came into contact with Ishiki. He was an ordinary human being. How did he come into contact with Ishiki? You know, how did he learn to master the Karma, and how he, you know, got taken over? Where has he been this entire time? Has Ishiki and Jigen been on the planet this entire time, or were they away for a certain amount of time? When did Kara form? When did Jigen did he capture Amado or kidnap him and restrict him not to go anywhere and just be his scientist? How did they come to be? Like, there's a lot of questions that I have in regards to Kara and Jigen and, you know, Ten Tails. Where did that come from? There's a lot of answers that we still need to know about. And we've been getting a lot of answers, and it seems like every chapter that passes we get more questions than answers, but they've been doing a good job answering a lot of these questions. So hopefully in the next couple of chapters we'll learn some more information on Kara and Jigen and the Ten Tails and Ishiki. That's what I'm looking for next. This chapter was very important to setting this information up, and hopefully it delivers the next couple of chapters. Just saying. So I'm gonna go ahead and end that there because this chapter review is getting pretty dang long. So anyways, this was a very solid chapter. I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10. Good chapter with good information. We got an amazing battle, or interesting battle, that's coming up with Kashin Koji versus Jigen. We got a little taste of it in this chapter. We're gonna get more of it in the next chapter. And hopefully we learn some more information on Jigen, Kara, Ten Tails, and the Karma Seal. And we'll see what happens. I feel like certain characters are here for a reason, like Sumire is here for a reason, and Code's where he's at for a reason. Everything's being set up, in my opinion. I just see the seeds being planted here. So, anyways, I like this chapter. It's 9 out of 10. What do you guys think out there? Did you like the chapter? Did you hate the chapter? What do you think of all of this? I want you guys out there that watch this video at this point, I want you guys to post in the comment section down below what you want to see in the Boruto manga coming up. What do you want to see answered in the future, and what you're expecting to see in the future? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. I will talk to you guys later.